Well, a couple of years ago, people used to ask the question whether geopolitics was having an impact on other aspects of our existence, whether it's business or whether it's sustainable transitions or it's climate change. And today, I think we definitively know that answer, that geopolitics is here to stay. By that, I mean that geopolitical developments and disruptions are going to be a part of our existence, whether we like it or not. And that, I think, is something that the world has to prepare itself for. The previous speaker, the former Prime Minister of Sweden, spoke about the fact that we were going through a certain level of disruption, but that he believed in the rule of law and countries working together to preserve an established order. But I think we have to prepare for a reality in which the rules-based international order is today very much under threat. The effectiveness of global governance institutions like the United Nations and the Bretton Woods institutions are seriously, I think, challenged. And that it is increasingly a sort of, might is right sort of situation in on the global stage. So countries like ours, like India, I think are very cognizant of the fact that anything that happens in any part of the world impacts on us, whether we are party to it or not. COVID was one instance of a black swan event which impacted all of us. But today, if you see the conflict in Iran, which you referred to, sir, that is already having an impact on our lives here. I mean, there's talk of LPG shortages, there's talk about serious LNG supply chain gaps, there is talk about impact on agriculture because of fertilizers not being available. I think the government is doing everything possible to address those, but I'm talking about the fact that it impinges on our daily lives, and we think a conflict is far away, but it's actually right here. So we are concerned, and I think this is going to impact on transitions in terms of sustainable energy. In India, we are moving very quickly towards a green economy. We are one of the few countries that have more than fulfilled our obligations to the Paris Agreement. But it is having an impact on a global basis, and I think I can speak on it further, but just to answer your question very briefly at the outset.
Wonderful. One follow-up question before we go to Bhutan. I mean, I think the war in Iran, what we do not know, of course, is how long will it last. If it ends very soon, the impact may be not that big. If it lasts very long, there will be huge impact also for a nation like India. As you said, fertilizer prices will for sure go up. Everything will be more costly. Import and export will be more costly. So there will be a huge number of impacts, which we cannot predict absolutely certainty, but still a nation like India needs to prepare. So what's your thought as to how India can prepare for a more volatile world? Even if this war ends, there may be other conflicts, other problems out there which have impact also back here in Bharat. How can India prepare better?
Well, we account for 1/6 of humanity. So if we are moving towards our goals in terms of the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN, we have, I think, taken 250 million people off the poverty index in the last 10 years alone of Prime Minister Modi's government. We have moved very fast, as I said, towards meeting our climate change goals. We had committed, Prime Minister Modi at the Glasgow Climate Conference had committed to 50% of our installed electricity capacity being met out of green energy. He had also committed to creating 500 gigawatts of green energy in India. We've already met part of that goal because 51.5% of our electric capacity comes from green energy today. And we have, as we speak, 260 gigawatts plus of renewable energy. So we are well on track to be a 500 gigawatt renewable energy producer. So as we move towards our climate change commitments, we as 1/6 of humanity are contributing to alleviating the world's problems. But at the same time, we understand that we have to work towards providing capacity support to the rest of the world, along with countries like the Scandinavian countries, Bhutan, our neighbors, etc. From that point of view, we are pioneers in setting up the International Solar Alliance. the Council for Resilient Infrastructure. We are also part of the initiative that created the Global Biofuels Alliance. So all of these are intended to allow us to work with our partners to provide the world with the capacity, especially the global south, with the capacity to meet those aims. But again, another part of your question was, what do we do to meet those challenges that we face? India believes in working on multiple alignments. We work with all of our partners, whether it's the West, whether it is the BRICS countries, whether it's the global south. Our approach is to work with all concerned and to work in a manner that keeps with our philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which is the world is one family. So by the world, we don't mean just the human race, we mean the entire planet Earth, which means animals, everything that is part of the planet, part of our civilizational philosophy. And in that context, we work with the rest of the world in creating a base for, I would say, peace, stability, progress, and prosperity.
This, you will come on. This quote from the old Indian scriptures, the whole world is one family, is so wonderful. I mean, I really want the world to take it to heart in these critical times. We will now move from India, from Bharat to Nepal. We have Dash Sangha Khandu. He's the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly of Bhutan, and we're eager to have your take as to how the global developments are affecting Bhutan and how you are making how you handle that in Bhutan.
See, firstly, I agree to what colleagues say. The most important thing is that there is an impact. There is an impact. We cannot deny. Things have changed. We have seen it. We have felt it. But the only way out as a politician, not as an academic, or maybe not as an economist. Bhutan per se today is now thinking over how we diversify ourselves. This is a time that now we think beyond traditional ways of doing things. Till today we were dependent on one ways of doing things, or maybe a few ways of doing things. Maybe a few trades. Of course, the world is interconnected. The world is now flat. There's no more round. It's all interconnected. Something happened in America, something happening in Cuba, Somalia, something happened in maybe what is happening in Kuwait today. It will definitely have an impact on the global economy. And our Bhutan, as you know, is a very small country with a very small economy, will be impacted a lot. But this is also a time for us to now think over what next. What is the option? Do we have an option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4? So I think now we are more of thinking over and over and over and over. Do we go back to the old Stone Age, or do we really progress ahead? So we have a choice. Either we just stay back, sit for the things to get stable by itself, or maybe some miracle to happen, or do something. So anyways, we are trying to do something that is, I don't know what we are really doing today. I think it will be very difficult for me to maybe really express and explain in detail in a very short, given a very short time. But we are really thinking over what next now.
I think Bhutan may be most well known to many citizens outside Bhutan because you have developed a somewhat different model for society than others. You have focused more on a people-centered model, a high-quality model, rather than just to drive economic growth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to create happiness among the people.
Yes.
Is that model still, you will still take that model into the future? How can you refine it and develop it for a new generation?
So, as I, in the beginning, during my keynote itself, we have learned to live by ourselves. We have also learned to be satisfied. We have also learned to be happy with whatever we have. Of course, if we can have more, we'll be happier. But now, the next step, whatever we are going to take, is going to be a very holistic approach, a sustainable one, a resilient, that should not be affected by the external forces. It should not be external forces dependent. Whatever you do, it should be, of course, you cannot say that you can isolate yourself from the world and you can be happy all alone. But you can still be, you can devise your own model and make yourself resilient to the world, resilient to the external forces, external effect, or external whatever that comes in. So let me quote what happened in 1997. 1997, the Southeast Asian economic downturn was the worst experience of the economic crisis. And Thailand was the hardest hit country. It was called as Titanic. It was termed as a Titanic. The economic downturn, of course, the Southeast Asian countries faced, but it was the Thailand that was hit hard, and it was called as a Titanic. But then the Thailand came up with of course, then the IMF came in, the World Bank came in, so many experts came in, advised them, but they said that they want to devise their own model. They want to make themselves resilient to the external impact. So today I am not referring Thailand as a good example for such situation, but it can be a reference. I think we can copy a model and put it in our own context, and if possible, we can do better. I don't know whether you agree or not.
I think it's a wonderful answer. Time is running out, but I have just one final question to both of you. The world citizens are desperate for peace. What everyone wants is peace. Bhutan is a very peaceful nation. During Operation Sindoor, Prime Minister Modi did something absolutely incredibly important in my view. He made the Indian case after the horrible terrorist attack in Pahalgam, but after making the case, he was able to stop the war. It was a short war, while nearly all wars are very long. So can you just encourage you to send a message of peace to the world from South Asia, from Bhutan, and from India? I think the rest of the world has so much to learn from both Bhutan and India. Maybe Bhutan first, and then you, Harshvardhan.
I don't know if it is from the. If it is the question of stabilizing the peace in the country, I think you have a reference of Mahabharata, you have a reference of Ramayana, so many Hindu Vedas and all, where the Lord, the God and goddesses had to become aggressive sometime to subdue the demon to stabilize the peace in the country. So see. So I don't know if you have any answer to the Sindoor, Operation Sindoor, and the peace, connecting Operation Sindoor to the
Bill, I mean, India has always, stood for peace and cooperation with all countries. And so we have always looked at ourselves as a country that, if at all we have a military point of view, it is a defensive one. And if you look at us historically, we have never aggressed a country, but we have defended our territory when it comes to aggression against us. And Operation Sindoor was an aggression against India. It was a targeted terrorist attack against India. And Prime Minister Modi's response was very calibrated and very targeted. We could have gone after Pakistan's military infrastructure. We could have gone to, I would say, take out their defensive installations. But instead, we chose to only focus on terrorist infrastructure, the headquarters of the terrorist groups who were responsible for those terrorist attacks in India. And when it came to the scope for a wider conflict, and when Pakistan came to us and requested a ceasefire, I think we were happy to conclude a ceasefire, not for any other reason, because we were definitely, we already had the upper hand. Pakistan was feeling the impact of the military, I would say, posture that India had adopted, especially with regard to, taking out 9 of their air bases at one single instance. But at the same time, on a position of strength, we agreed to a ceasefire. And I think that is in keeping with our philosophy of wanting peace and stability, not just in our part of the world, but globally, which is why Prime Minister Modi has always advocated for peace. He has said that, it is important to have peace through dialogue and diplomacy. And someone asked him in the Ukraine conflict, he said that, are you neutral? And he said, we are not neutral, we are on the side of peace. And that's how we see, the world from the lens of peace, stability, and harmony.
Sorry, we are running out of time. Operation Sindoor was a textbook response, a firm reaction, but no forever war. I thank Dash Sangakando, Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly of Bhutan, and Harshvardhan Shringla, member of the Rajya Sabha of India, and give them a round of applause. Thank you.
We will continue this conversation off stage as well. I know when three of you meet, it's so much to discuss. But thank you all very much for joining us for this session. Okay, I'm moving forward very, very quickly. Now, for a special address on the future of Indo-Pacific trade, we are joined by Member of Parliament, Member of the House of Representatives, in fact, from New Zealand, Stuart Smith. We appreciate your patience. Mr. Smith, thank you for being with us. I invite you onto the stage for your address.
Kia ora, namaste, and good morning, everyone. It is a great pleasure to be here in India and to join you all here at the NXT conference. India is a country that doesn't just talk about the future, it is actively shaping it. And that is exactly why New Zealand sees India as not simply as a partner for today, but as a partner for the long term. Let me start with a simple message. For New Zealand, our relationship with India is no longer a nice to have. It is a strategic necessity for our economy, for our security, and for our place in the world. We are living in a time of global uncertainty. The world is more contested, more complex, and more interconnected than it has been at any point in recent memory. Supply chains are shifting, strategic alignments are evolving, economic resilience, security, and trusted partnerships matter more now than ever. In this environment, countries like New Zealand must be deliberate about where we invest our energy, our diplomacy, and our trust. India's global influence is no longer emerging, it is established and growing. India is not only the world's most populous nation, home to around 1.4 billion people, it is the 5th largest economy and is projected to become the 3rd largest by 2030. It is a major player in international affairs, a member of the G20, a key voice in the United Nations, a member of the Quad, and an influential leader across the global south. India's strategic location in the Indo-Pacific, its commitment to democratic governance, and its growing leadership in digital innovation, a vibrant space industry, and regional security make it a critical partner for countries like New Zealand. And then there is the pace of growth. Over the past decade, India has built thousands of kilometres of new highways and more than doubled its number of airports from 74 to 157. Your middle class is now estimated at over 445 million people. That represents one of the largest and fastest growing